Hello, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to do the second of the two types of one-step equations. In this second type, we're going to solve equations by multiplication. And when we talk about multiplication, we talk about multiplication or division because we treat them the same. Think about it this way. If I said 5 times 3, I get 15. But what if I wanted to go backwards, 15, and divided by 3, I would get back to 5. So multiplication and division undo each other. So that means I'm going to use them both when we have multiplication and division going on in an equation. I'm going to use the other one to undo the first one. So, for example, in question number 1, we have 6y equals 48, and that really means 6 times y. Now, again, you could probably guess what the answer is. You know what y equals. You could just tell me y equals 8, I think. But that's not the point of these problems, although that is technically what we're trying to find. We're trying to find the answer. What does y equal? But really what I want you to practice is showing how you did that. And this is how I'm going to show my division on these. I have this line, 6y equals 48, and I'm just going to pretend I'm making a fraction out of this. So 6 over 6 and 48 over 6. And so I created two fractions, 6y over 6 and 48 over 6. And 6 divided by 6 is 1, so that gives me 1y. And 48 divided by 6, of course, is 8. And there we have it. Now, once we have done that, the second thing I want you to do is go back to the original problem, 6y equals 48, and rewrite it with the y replaced with what you think it is. Y equals 8, so I'm going to write parenthesis where the y was, write parenthesis 8, and then I'm going to just check to see if this is true. Does 6 times 8 equal 48? And the answer is yes, it does, and so I know I'm correct. Okay, very important to check your work. Even though these are easy problems, they're going to get harder. Now, these are easy problems. We have to do something to make them tricky, so we're going to throw in some combined like terms work for you here. So in this case, 8y plus y equals 45. We have 8 apples plus 1 apple. How many apples is that total? That's 9 apples. 9 y's equal 45. 9 times y equals 45. What's the opposite of times? Divide both sides by 9. 9 divided by 9 is 1. 1y. And 45 divided by 9 is 5. So we think the answer is 5. Let's go ahead and check it first. Let me go back to the original problem. 8 times y, which I'm saying is 5, plus another y, which is 5, equals 45. Well, 8 times 5 is 40. Plus 5 equals 45. Yeah, that's true. So once we plug our answer back in and we say, yes, it works, it's true, then we can certify our answer and say, yes, this is my final answer, y equals 5. Let's do the next one. Number 3, 20 minus 2 equals negative 4x plus 10x. Well, I can do 20 minus 2, and that's the real first step, is to simplify. But we only simplify each side, so the left side of the equal sign and the right side of the equal sign. And notice there's this equal sign there, and we can't simplify over the equal sign. We can't put the 20 and 10x together because they're on opposite sides of the equal sign. Okay, so 20 minus 2 is 18. Negative 4x plus 10, well, the signs are different, so we're going to subtract. It's going to be 6. I keep the sign of the stronger number, the one that's furthest from 0, which is the 10. It's farther away than negative 4. And it's 6x because they're both x terms. Notice that the left side had 0 x terms, the right side had 2 x terms. We combined like terms. Now we'll do our process here where we have something times x, which is 6. We're going to divide by that same something. Did it trip you up that the x was on the wrong side of the equation? It's on the right side instead of the left side this time. No, we still use the variable as our anchor spot. It's what we're trying to find, so whatever's being done to x, we undo by doing the opposite. The opposite of times 6 is divide by 6. 18 divided by 6 is, I think it's 3. And then if you like, you can flip this around, x equals 3. And there's my answer. Let's check it out and see if this is true. 20 minus 2 equals negative 4 times 3 plus 10 times 3. Well, 20 minus 2 is 18. That wasn't hard. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Plus 10 times 3 is 30. Well, let's see. Negative 12 plus 30, the signs are different. We subtract, we get 30 minus 12 is 18, and keep the sign of the stronger number, which is positive, and it worked. Woohoo! We are batting 1,000 today. Okay, let's do 3 more problems. We'll do these fairly quickly. Each one has a little bit of a trick to it. I think you'll be able to figure these out, so hit pause and try them yourself. Okay, first one, negative 3y equals negative 27. What's being done to y? It's being multiplied by a number, and it's a negative number, but it's still being multiplied, and this is the trick. It's not, did you add 3 to both sides? I hope not, because it wasn't being subtracted from 3. Y is not y minus 3, it's y times negative 3. The opposite of times negative 3 is divided by negative 3. So y equals negative 27 divided by negative 3, which is positive 9. Now let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's check and see if this is true. Negative 3 times y we think is 9, equals negative 27. Well, negative 3 times 9, we can do that. That is 27. Oh, it's 3 times 9 is 27, but there's only one negative, so it's negative 20, I said 27, 29, no, 27. 27 is negative, and it's true. So it's true. I don't have to write every little bit of it out, but it always is a good idea to check my answers. Okay, now number 5. This one was also a bit tricky. It's actually really tricky. Negative m equals 11. How many m's are there? Or what's being done to m? The m is being made negative, and we could think of this as negative 1 times m. Remember, if I just had m, it would be 1m. But if it's negative m, I can think of it as negative 1m. And if we're being multiplied by negative 1, well, the opposite would be divide by negative 1. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is positive 1, 1m, equals, and 11 divided by negative 1 is negative 11. And I think that's my answer, but let's check. Negative m equals 11, negative 11 equals 11. And this is true. Remember, if you have a minus negative is a positive, so this is 11, which it does equal 11, and so we did it. Let's do the last one. This last one is the trickiest, I think. Well, probably the least tricky maybe, but a lot of people get tripped up here. First of all, it just looks like we threw in some simplification here. 7 minus 7, that's easy, that's 0. Bring down the equal sign, bring down the 5, and the x, 5 times x equals 0. And what's being done to x? Well, it's being multiplied by 5, so I'm going to divide by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so we have 1x, or just x, equals, and that's what we want. What does x equal? And now we see there's a trick here. What is 0 divided by 5? 0 divided by 5. Well, it turns out that 0 divided by 5 is 0, right? 0 divided by anything is 0. So this is perfectly fine. It's actually a trick because it's not a trick. It's perfectly fine for x to equal 0. In fact, let's plug it back in and see what happens. 5 times x equals 7 minus 7. 5 times 0, well, 7 minus 7 is 0. 5 times 0 is 0. And so it works. This works as well. So be careful with 0. 0 can get us into trouble. There is a rule about dividing by 0. You're not allowed to do it. But you can take 0 and divide it by something else, and that's perfectly fine. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.